All right, welcome everyone. Today we are going to be talking about moving data from one database to the other or within itself. Sometimes you may want to move data from database, maybe the database is running in California and there is a table in that database, you want to move that table to Atlanta. Let me quickly give us a rough idea of what we are about to do. So here is the scenario here. We have a server in California. So there's a server somewhere. I'm just going to put it in California right there. And there's a database running on this server, and the database is PT prod. So we have a database. It's situated in the server in California. Let me give this server a name. Vision Tech Cloud is the domain name. Domain name of the server in the cloud, in California, sorry. So there is a database PT prod running on this server. So this database has got a table called HR.account master, meaning that this table belongs to the HR user. Agreed? Now, our challenge right now is so we have another database somewhere in Atlanta, in a server called PT Sandbox, and the name of the database that is running the seed of the database is FMIS. So this table, HR account master, does not exist in FMIS. We are going to move the table. To move data from one database to the other, we will use Oracle DataPump. DataPump can be used to move a schema, a table. It can be used to move the entire database. We're going to keep it simple. Let me just talk about the steps. There are 5 steps involved. 5 steps are involved. The first step is that one, we've got to export the data from the source database in California. So the first step is export from FMIS. So we'll export the data from the database FMIS. Yes. Oh, sorry. So thank you for catching that. Export from PT prod. Okay. The next step is when we export it, a dump file will be created. That file is a binary file. You can't cut it. You can't see the content. It's all squeezed up together. Oracle, when this thing is coming out of Oracle, it has to be put in a directory that Oracle is already aware of. So we will, step 2, dump file in directory. So we put the dump file in the appropriate directory object. Then somehow we'll have to transport it. Step number 3, we need to transport it to the destination server. When we get to the destination server, it needs to be dumped in the appropriate directory. In other words, you're just not going to put it just anywhere. It has to be a directory that Oracle is aware of, known as directory objects. The final stage is we will then import it into the database FMIS. So now, when we do that, the table account master will now be available. Now, first thing I want to say about this is that this is the standard step for DataPump. There are other advanced options where we can completely avoid dumping it on the source server and just import it directly into the destination server. We will see that in other advanced labs. But this is our first introduction. And the next thing I want to say is that because the server in California is Unix and the server in Atlanta, PT Sandbox, is Unix, most time DBAs will not be using FileZilla and all that WinSCP. They will use a secure copy. So we will talk about secure copy. You could use WinSCP and other tools, but since this is Unix and that is Unix, we will use secure copy. Any question on this so far? All right. Let's step into the conversation a little bit more. So we do have a lab that highlights all what I've talked about. In this lab, oh, by the way, once again, my name is Billy Effick. I will be taking us through this lab. In this first lab about DataPump, we will introduce the concept of DataPump, Oracle DataPump, and we'll talk about some of the uses. We will see examples. In this particular lab, we will be moving a table. This is Lab 5A. In Lab 5B, we will use very advanced options like using what is called a par file and excluding certain tables. And then we will be also using a tool called SQL Loader to load data outside of Oracle into Oracle table. In Lab 5C, we will use Enterprise Manager Cloud Control 13C for this entire thing. And we will move an entire schema and rename it in the same token. We will move an entire schema from one database to the other and then rename the schema in the process. So there will be, we will not only rename the schema, we will move it from one table space to the other. We will remap the table space. So it's going to be very exciting. Hang in there. All right. Whatever you are not clear about, let's make sure you ask questions. In order to do this lab, you would have completed Lab 3. What is Lab 3? Create table, role, user, and assign privileges. The prerequisite to this Lab 5A is that you have done 3. You have also done Lab04A, R-man hot and cold backup, and then your database must be running in archive log mode so that we can be sure that at least there's a backup in case there's a problem. Also, I strongly recommend that you would have done Lab04B. 4B is not crucial, but you would have done it before you do this Lab05A. What is 4B? Backing up using Oracle Enterprise Manager Cloud Control 13C. All right? If we have crossed all the T's and dotted the I's, let's move on. So this is the task. Normally, in a typical database environment, DataPump jobs are a constant. Somebody wants that data. Oh, the fresh data in production. Can we refresh this table in there? Can you move it from here to there? You know, this schema needs to be in that database. It doesn't exist. It needs to be there. We use DataPump to move data from one Oracle database to the other. So in this lab, Oracle objects, example table, will be moved from one database to the other using Oracle DataPump. And then we will use Enterprise Manager and then secure copy.
So use both the command line, the Enterprise Manager also?
Yes, we will also use the utility on command line. Now, basically, this is what we are trying to do. So here we have the source. Our source is California, as the picture depicted before. The database is PTprod, and then some DataPump job will be done to export it, and the dump file will be dumped in this server. So the dump file will be dumped in the destination server, and then we will copy it over using secure copy. In one of the labs, the 5C, we will copy it across the network. So we're going to create a database link and copy it across the network. And it will be automatically copied by the import utility. But let's keep it simple for now. So there are 5 steps: export, dump it, copy it over, that's transport, dump it, then import it. That's all you need to remember, 5 steps. All right, let's step into it. So this lab will be performed on the PTprod will be our source, which is running on the cloud, and the FMIS is running on the sandbox. You will need OEM credentials to be able to do this. So first of all, these are the credentials to the cloud server. Let me log in. On this screen, it simply says, hey, find out, are you pointed to the right database? You see the environment variable is pointing to PTprod. Let me do that right away. So with whatever tool you use to connect to your server, some people will use Forti, some people will use Mobile Extreme, and there are other Siguen. So I like to always open 2 screens at the same time so that I don't have to be squinting. I can use both. So I'm going to clone this connection. Okay. So now the lab says to be sure that your environment is pointing to the right environment. All right, let's do that. Grep Oracle. This is one way to check it. I am pointing to PTprod. So the Oracle home and everything is correct. So I'm just going to follow the lab verbatim. In the next command, I'm going to check on Unix, not Oracle command, but from Unix. How can I tell that my listener is running? I can tell without typing the listener command in Unix. In Unix, every process that is running in the background can be checked by the PS command. PS-EF. If I run this command, it will tell me every and every process. I don't want to see every and every. I just want to see listener. So I can say, of all the output you are giving me, grep TNS. Because on that line of the listener, there will be the word TNS. Take a look at this. Some other people may grep something else, may grep inherit. Okay? But take a look at this. I got two listeners. The first listener is list 12C. The second listener is called listener. See that? It really doesn't tell me the ports because this is Unix. Okay? I just found out that they are actually running. But I can find out. I can check my listener. Let me copy that. Let me check that listener. So I can say listener, control, status of this listener. Paste that particular listener. Since it's not the default listener, I have to mention the name. It says that the listener is been running. It's Oracle 12C. It's listening at port 1525. Agree? And then the database is PT-prod. Okay? So this listener is listening, and we are good. Let's go back and run through this. So that's what I just did. I checked my listener. It's not required, but I just put it there for completion so that at least you know things are running. Now, let's check the status of this database. Is it down? Is it open? Is it mounted? SQL Plus /AssistDBA. Select the name of this database. I always like to do this query if I'm logging to a production database on the command line, because I don't want to go and be deleting things in my production environment unknowingly. And look at how I colored it. This is my prod database. I made sure the tool was blue. So once I see blue, I know not to mess up here. Because you maintain a lot of databases, and if you are not careful, you could be doing some damage yourself because you wield a lot of power at the DBA. So yeah, you have to always be sure. So our database is PT-prod, which is the right one. It is a read-write, which means that it is open. And let's see, do we have how many tables the HR user, how many tables do we have for the HR user? Let's check that. Select table name, table underscore name from DBA underscore tables, where the owner of the table is equal to HR. Most data dictionary data are stored in uppercase. You've got to remember that. So we are trying to find out all the tables owned by the HR user. You notice that the HR user owns 9 tables, and the HR user owns a table called account master. Okay? All right, let's go to the next screen. So we are still in our source database, PT-prod. Now let's go to our destination database. Let's connect to our destination server. Let's go here. Going to our destination server right here. See that white color showing that that's my dev environment. Okay? So on our destination server, let's do the exact same thing and find out where this is pointing. Enva grep Oracle. So my environment variable is pointing to FMIS. Let's find out are the listeners running ps-ef grep TNS. Yes, there's a listener running. It's the default listener. I can check it. Listener, control, check the status. I don't need to mention the name of the listener because it's the default one. And it is listening at port 1521, and this is the name of the database right here. All right. Next slide. Next slide. Let's find out what about the database itself. SQL plus / assist_dba. If I log in, I say select the name of the database. Oh well, we can, we can always copy paste. Copy paste is your friend. It will save us a lot of time. It's the same exact command. The database is FMIS and it's in open mode. Okay, let's find out, do we have such a table? All these tables, do we have that for the HR user? Paste that. So you notice that the HR user has two tables. Let's find out what tables are missing. So account master is missing, agreed? What else is missing? Job grade. Job grade and account master are missing. Okay? So you see this lab says account master and job grades are missing. So your destination database FMIS does not have both tables. So our task then will be to use DataPump to move that, to copy that table from the source server, source database to destination. Let's, this is the credential for Enterprise Manager Cloud Control. All right, Enterprise Manager Cloud Control. There we go. We log in with the appropriate credentials. This is the latest Enterprise Manager Cloud Control. While that is cooking and trying to get on board, could take a minute. Let me look at the next task. So we are in OEM, and the database we are trying to connect to is PT Pro. And so we are going to navigate to schema, database export, import, export to export file. So we're about to take the first step to export. So here is the cloud control, OEM. We select the appropriate database that we want to do this operation on. I know the status is looking down, but the database is actually up. That will be rectified as we move on. Notice I just clicked on it. And so we have selected that particular database. All right, so this is Enterprise Manager Cloud Control 13C, and the lab says to, at this stage, that we should log in, and we've logged in. We've selected the actual database PT-Prod, and we are going to navigate to schema, database, export to file. So we are exporting to file. Schema, database, export, import, export to file. So you see with Enterprise Manager, we can import from file also. So now we are at the export. Step 1, export. Now, what can we export? Remember I said that with DataPump, we can export the entire database. We can export a schema. We can export a table. We can export a table space, the entire table space. In order to proceed, you will need some kind of credential that says that you have rights to do this, which is the host credential. Whenever Enterprise Manager is asking for host credential, it's asking for Unix credentials.
Like,
You can ask questions. Yes.
it's like
You can ask questions.
it's like sysadmin.
No, the Unix password of the whichever user. Like in your case, you log in with Smith.
Yeah.
You will provide it.
Okay.
As long as Smith has rights to run Oracle-related stuff. In some environment, you will log in as Smith and then switch user to Oracle. See that? So I'm going to continue. That information is already here. Oh, no, I'm not continuing. I'm not exporting the entire database. In our case, in this example, I want to export a particular table. So I'm going to select table, continue. Now, what table are we exporting? So now, according to the lab, we just passed that screen. We are going to select two tables. The first table is account master. The second table is job grade. The two tables that we don't have in our destination server. So let's go and add tables to the list of tables. Look at the add. Now, who owns the table? If I know the name of the table, I can type it here. But I'm just going to show you something that the table is owned by HR. Agree? So HR, and then I will use the search button here, that little search thing there, and it will list all the tables owned by HR. Now, here is listing the schemas first. So I select the schema HR and then the tables. So I can say go, list me all tables owned by HR, go. So here are all the tables owned by HR. And the tables I want is their account master and job grade. I select the table I want, two tables. Next.
You click on job grade. Don't click on that.
No, I've already selected. Okay. Next. I can estimate how much this space the export job will consume. The dump file, how large will it be, so that I can proactively make sure that there's enough space on that disk. Now, a log will be automatically generated. The log simply says, here is what happened. Okay? Now, where will the log be? Where will my log be? Okay. Where will my table be? Where will my log be? It has to be in a directory that Oracle is aware of. Ladies and gentlemen, Oracle is not aware of every directory on Unix. it has to be registered with Oracle as a directory object for Oracle to be aware of it. So there is a directory called DataPump directory inside Oracle. That's the name, where Oracle keeps DataPump files. You can create one. In Lab05C, we will create a directory object. But for now, we will use DataPump directory that is already in existence. The log file will be called export.yourname.log. So if my name is Billy, it will be export.billy.log. Now, typically in the real workplace, we will name this based on what it is we're exporting. You understand? If there was a database in California and I'm exporting something to Atlanta, I could call it General Ledger Export from California or something. General Ledger GL Export cal.log. Just so that when I see the log, the name will make sense. So if I say to Mesa, what was that DataPump job? How is it going? At least you know which file to go look. So the log file simply just tells us what happened in the process of the export. If it failed, if there were issues, if it succeeded. The dump file itself is the actual content of what we want. So the dump file should have a name. I'm going to call it export.yourname.dmp. That means data, export data, your name. So I'm trying to keep it uniform and simple. All right. So let's go to Enterprise Manager. The directory object where the log is going to be is DataPump directory. Where is that? DataPump directory. That's where, and the log will be export.billy log. You put your name there, okay? Watch this, pay attention to this, show advanced option. Now, in advanced option, we can decide, do we want data only? Do we want the table structure, the metadata to be there, or all of it? Which object do we want to include or exclude? We can do a query that excludes certain records. If the table has 1 million records and we only want 10 records, what's the point going through moving all 1 million? We can exclude it. We can do a query that says, listen, when you are exporting, please only export 10 records.
You do that here, or you do that like?
Oh, we can do that right here.
Okay.
Now, we can export the table as at a particular time. In other words, I don't want all the changes you did in the last 1 hour to be there. I want the table as at 6 a.m. this morning. You can indicate it with the timestamp or the system change number of 6 a.m. You can do a query to further filter the records. All right, let me move to the next screen. Now it says, you have told me what the log file will be called and that it will be located in the DataPump directory. Please, where do you want to put the dump file? Okay, put it in DataPump directory, and I'm going to call it export.billy.dump. People, if this dump file already exists, your DataPump job will fail. I say that again. This is a very typical error that happens. If this file already exists on the disk, your DataPump job will fail. Now let me quickly check, where is my DataPump directory? I can do a quick check. Remember, we are still in the source database. I do a quick check here. Select directory underscore name, directory path, the path that represents it from DBA underscore directories. So it shows me all the directories, and there is one called DataPump directory. The result is kind of jumbled up a little bit. You can format it. There is my DataPump directory right there. You see that? So I'm going to change directory into it. At least let me double sure. Let me be double sure that that dump file doesn't exist. I do an ls, and I discover that that dump file already exists. Our DataPump job would have failed if the file already exists. I'm going to remove it. There is a Unix script that I've written in this server that will clean up this directory every 7 days. Remove that dump file. Copy paste. Removed it. Now let's go back, because it's the same exact name. Next, so we now have indicated where our dump file will be. When do you want to run this? Now, this is the Oracle scheduler. We can schedule this to run every day. We can schedule it to run every hour, every weekend, once a year, once a month. All kinds of flexibilities are here. Now, a job name should be given and a description. Otherwise, Oracle will suggest one for you. Will automatically put a default job name. I call this Billy Export Job. Just, give it a job name. Your name, export job. Your name, export HR tables. So I'm going to give this a job name, Billy Export Job, and export HR account master and HR job grade. The time zone is Eastern time zone. Do you want to run it immediately or later? Let's say let me select later for now. So if I said later, then I can say what date I want to run it. But if I say repeat one time or indefinite or a particular custom schedule, so I can decide yearly, monthly, and so on and so forth. So for now, I'm going to run it immediately. Next, so this is the Oracle scheduler. It says that a job was already run in this name. It has to have a job name. I'm just going to put 2 there. I'm the one that ran it before. Next. Now, please watch this. It gives me a summary of what needs to be done. Tables will be exported. What is parallelism? What is parallelism? You may have multiple processors in this server. For now, the default is 1, meaning you just use 1. But if you have 15 processors, 16 processors, cores on this server, you want to use all of that power. So I'm just going to leave it as 1, but we can increase that all the time. And then it says, here is your dump file, what is going to be called. Here is your log file, what is going to be called. Now, watch this. Assuming a programmer was trying to dynamically do this inside his program, It's possible for a programmer to automate this inside his program. He will have to write a program, say PL SQL program, let's say. When programmers, developers have problems, you are the closest person as a DBA to talk to, because others have no clue. So they try and fail, they come to you and say, Moses, I want to do a DataPump. I wrote this PL SQL program and it's not working. Can you take a look at it? And you say, okay, let me look at it for you. You are not a developer. But all the things that we have just done, what developers don't know is that DBAs can auto-generate that program. Watch this. Show PL SQL. This is the program he has been trying to write. And some of them would have already written like 200 lines. But here is everything we have just done has been captured in this program. So I have DBA. Copy that, there you go. I have DBA who just copy this and say, oh, John, here. And they say, and John go, oh my God, I didn't know you are this good. Thank you. It was generated by Enterprise Manager. All right? In other words, if we run this on the command line, you know what we want to do. All right, let's submit this job. Go ahead and submit the job. So now the job is in progress. The job is in progress. Depending on how large the table is, it may take a minute. I have done DataPump that ran for 15 hours. So the job has begun, it's running. Enterprise Manager will also display the log on the screen. But remember, we ordered the log. So now the job is running. Look at the job right there. I can click on the job to take a look at what's going on. So in other words, it's possible to come to Enterprise Manager and log into the scheduler anytime to see what jobs are running. So there's the job right there. It can even tell you the steps that it's taking. Okay? The job started on this date and this time, and the job was called what? That's the name of the job, and it is running. Of course, it will not change status until the screen refreshes. Let me force a refresh. I'm just going to reload that page. The job succeeded. It ran for 41 seconds. Look at that. Everything we have done so far can be done on the command line. All right, let's go and take a look at the file that has been produced. There you go. Do an ls-ltr. So the latest file, look at it, the dump file right there, and the log file. Let's take a look at the log file. Cat. I always like to look at the log file to see if anything happened. Was there an error? Look at that. It says, you told me to do this. I started, and I started running this table, that one. Here are the sizes of the table. Processing it. I exported it. There's one record in account master. Do you see that? One record in account master. 6 records in the other one. The job has finished and the file has been placed here. Wow. See that? And it succeeded. If this was a weekly scheduled job or a daily scheduled job, I don't want to come in every morning and be looking at this log. Did it succeed? Did it not? I can write a Unix script that will be looking at these logs every day and show me if this last line doesn't succeed or if there are errors. Scan this file and it will email me if there were errors. If there were no errors, it worked. What's the point sending myself an email? All right? So we have done 2 steps. Exported, we have dumped it. It's sitting on the cloud server. Let's take a look at what the lab is saying. So there is the screen right there, the log. Now, to transfer the file, we want to transfer the file to the destination server, agree? And I said that a typical DBA will use secure copy. But we have to identify where is the DataPump directory in the destination server so that we can put the dump file there. This query I just did, select directory name and all that, I'm going to copy it. Sorry, let me copy that query from the lab so that with that query, it's a bit formatted in the PDF. There you go. Remember how I ran it that it's exact, but it's a bit formatted here. Remember that when you copy something from PowerPoint or PDF, be careful that the ticks are not the normal ticks anymore. So I will always drop it in Notepad. So I put it in Notepad right there. Be sure that everything is fine. Look at that. Look at that coily tick. I would have had a problem right there. Okay, so now it's looking good. So I pick up this command. What does this actually do? This is the actual command. So let me run it and you see it. And I'm supposed to run it on the destination. I run it, paste that. Look at how the result is scattered. It can be formatted. The SQL result can be formatted. What does this mean? It means that the total line size should be 160. I'm increasing the width of the screen. Okay? That the field directory name should be 40 characters. The field directory path should be 60 characters. So I'm formatting my screen. So when I run this query together, watch what happens. A nice format as opposed to the other one. It's the same query, but now formatted. While this is scattered, that is nicely formatted. He says that my DataPump directory is here. So I'm going to go there so that I can do the secure copy from there. Okay, copy that. Going to my DataPump directory, change directory to the DataPump directory of my destination. If I'm not in this folder, I can specify it in the secure copy, but I always like to be in it. Do an ls. There is no dump file there. Usually, we transfer the dump file, not the log file. The log file was just telling you what happened at the source. When I'm importing, I will also create a log. So, what the secure copy? This secure copy command is already here. Secure copy, your username, the source server, the folder where that file is. All right, so let me do that. Secure copy. I want to go out as the user Oracle. I'm going to this server called PisionTechCloud.serve.com. That's where I'm going. When I get there, semicolon, I want to go to this folder. Why don't I just copy all that? This is the file, agree? Copy that. People, try not to type too much. Copy it. Because see how long that is, we can make mistakes. So that's the dump file. Because I am inside the folder where it should be put, I put a space and put a dot. Dot means put it right there. Any questions so far? So we are transporting right now. Press enter. Of course, you can't just go and be copying something from the server. You gotta have a password. So it will ask you for your Unix password. And now it copied it. It just went to California and copied. We have transported it to an LS. There you go. ls-ltr. That file just arrived. Sometimes I will check the size. Look at 208896. I mean, from California to Atlanta is a long route. I don't want that file to be corrupt on the way. Let me take a look at the ls-ltr. That file is 208896. Correct. If there's a discrepancy, I will redo it. It means there was corruption. I do not need to copy the log file. The log file was just there to tell me what happened during the export. All right, so we have successfully exported it. We dumped it on the source server. We now copied it to the destination server by transporting it with secure copy. So the last step, we want to import it. All right, I will see you in the next video.